Hey guys, welcome back to another Architecture Real Talk. So today we're going to be looking at affordable housing tips, right? I'm going to try to stay away from physical talk. I don't want to talk about price per square feet because you can have abundance of material on one end, and some of you guys are international, so you might be building houses out of concrete. So all my advice are going to be universal to anyone who's building a single family home or they're building multiple homes or townhomes on a lot. So let's go ahead and get started. So my first tip is to site plan. Now, when it comes to site planning for a single home, it's pretty understandable. You should be limiting windows on your south facades, east, and so on and so forth. When it comes to multi-plan or you're talking about townhouses, you want to create options where you are negating windows specifically from the south side if the house faces that way. If let's say you're doing a subdivision, you want to have a plan for north side windows or take away windows if it's on the south side. So create those various options that suit to your site plan. Now, another thing you can look at is how trees are placed on your site. If you're under a urban context or you are on a thoroughfare, you want to provide conifer trees. They buffer in sound. 2 layers of these trees staggered can drastically reduce the sound going to your house. At the same time, you can have shade trees. So just the microclimate that you create around the context of your house, you can already be at a great start to an efficient home. Now, when it comes to the interior of the house, when it comes to the layout of the house, you want to keep the plan simple. I would study Barcelona Pavilion, certain other houses that have been done by Frank Lloyd Wright and Mies van der Rohe, where they kept the walls as simple as possible. If the wall has a purpose to exist, to create privacy, to create storage, to become more multi-purpose than it's supposed to be, you can also study tiny homes, right? Then it has a reason to exist. Reduce the redundancy of walls, right? Do not create walls that pretty much are there for supporting a door, right? So if you can reduce that, simplify the circulation through the house, and the less material you have to put in, the better. Now, when it comes to where you should be spending money on your house, just for efficiency purposes, you should have exterior walls that are 2x6. You should be at R15 rather than R13. Exceed the code that you're in, right? R38 in the ceiling can drastically go up to R42 or even R50 because that's where you want to, the envelope of the house should be secured. Keep the sides to close to 4 as possible, right? The more you limit the ins and outs of the house, the less exterior surface you have, right? And more efficient your shape is. Another thing I would look at is structural lineup, plumbing lineup. You want to actually look at how these plumbing walls are behaving, right? If you push all the plumbing to one side of the wall, right? If you stack all your vents as they go up, right? When it comes to all your supply lines, they run across just one side of your house. Then you already at a great start for saving money when it comes to laying out this house. Again, simplify. Think about the systems in the house. I talked about a smart closet, right? If you can push in all your water heater, air handler, your thermostat, right? You can push in all of those things almost like a core inside the house, then you would already be pretty much making sure all the systems have a place, right? So think of your house as a series of systems coming together. Think of it as simple as possible. Now, there's another side to architecture, which is construction. Now, when it comes to construction, there's another set of layers that you should be thinking about when it comes to affordable housing, which is material sizing. I'll give you an example. You can have a great section in architecture, and those minute 3-foot, 4-foot changes look really nice in drawings. But when it comes to practicality, there should be 8-foot changes. There should be 9-foot changes. Because when it comes to structure, all your materials is size 8x4, right? So if you were to, let's say, do a 10-foot ceiling, that 10-foot ceiling is probably going to be cheaper than a 9-foot, 4.5-inch ceiling. You're having to cut every one of those studs to a different size. You're having to cut all that gypsum board to a different size. For those who are laying out concrete, your formwork has to be custom made, right? So if you are looking at specific heights that the construction material comes in, and you're having to cut that material less and less, then you're already saving on labor and you're saving on material. You're reducing waste. So those are a few of the things that you can think about as you're going towards an efficient house. Another thing I try to do if I'm going with a budget is to limit my number of door sizes. It's a simple idea, but it's just practical. If you have a 3-foot door and a 2'10" and a 2'8", that's it, 3 doors, right? Same thing goes for windows. Work with 2 or 3 size of windows. You can order them in bulk, and you're now dealing with custom size windows. Again, you can get a great architectural reveal by putting mullions between them, by putting a wall or multiple studs between them. For concrete, you have a pillar between them, but you're using the same size of windows all the way around, right? You can also get away with probably putting in a single panel door versus a 6-panel door. So the practicality of material selection, the practicality of if you go with, let's say, a Shojuji bond siding versus fiber cement siding, both have an exterior life of about 50 years. One might cost more or one might cost less than the other. But at the end of the day, they're veneers. They're going to cost less than the brick and the labor for the brick. But they will have about the same life as a brick wall. The reason being because fiber cement is a hardy plank. It's a cement board. So those are things and steps that I would take. So again, the first part of me would focus on the design elements, right? The second part of me would worry about the construction elements and the system aspects of it. And at the end of the day, you will end up having a cost-effective house. Follow for more content.